Hello and welcome to Zach's recap through SmackDown Live. After a controversial Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, how does the blue brand cope and what stories are they going to take forward? Well, I am here to tell you just that. We started off SmackDown Live with The Miz TV, in which The Miz confirms what we already knew, that Bryan and The Miz will square off once more in Australia, but this time the winner faces the WWE Champion. Daniel Bryan vs Joe, Daniel Bryan vs Styles. I think you can tell who I want to win this match at Super Showdown. Miz introduces his wife Maryse to the show, in which she states this will be the last time we will see her on SmackDown Live due to going back home to care for her daughter. Miz then calls out Daniel, in which he does, and comes down to the ring to beat up The Miz, but it all gets a little too much and Bryan knocks Miz into Maryse. Then Miz knocks into her as she played possum. Next, we got a backstage segment with The New Day. Well, enough said about that. We then also had another backstage segment with Bryan literally moments after the brawl in the ring, in which we still learn the word of the night. Coward. So after all of that, we finally get our first match of the night. Yay! Cesaro versus Kofi. Side note, if any of you can tell me where I can get that bar football top from, I would be eternally grateful. We get the New Day to confirm for the second time that they will face the Bar at Super Showdown for the SmackDown Tag Titles. Cesaro beat Kofi with a devastating neutralizer, and the Bar are up 1 over the current champs. Yep, you guessed it, we had another backstage segment, but only this time it was Rusev and Lana. They get interrupted by Aiden as they talk about what went down at Hell in a Cell. Rusev says that his best isn't good enough, and Aiden has a breakdown on camera to a producer in which Lana overheard. Could this be the end of the bromance that we have all loved? Can English find a way to get the heart of Rusev back? We will find out later in the night. After a commercial break, we get another backstage segment. I think I'm only realising now how many backstage segments there are, but nonetheless, we get Randy Orton in the production truck getting all the monkeys to get some footage from the pay-per-view of the match he had with Jeff, in which he shows the world one more time the infamous screwdriver through the ear. Okay, I'm personally glad he didn't rip the ear of Hardy. Orton says it's nothing in comparison to what he does to his next victim. Who is this new victim? Time will only tell. Backstage segment yet again, but this time it's with my boy, the Phenomenal One. He successfully retained at Hell in a Cell. Alright, okay, yeah, you can all shout at me. It was a little controversial, but we get Styles vs Joe 3 in Australia, so are we happy, fans? Nakamura makes his way down to the ring, only to be interrupted by, well, you should know by now, another backstage segment. Rusev is interrupted by Lana and tries to tell him what Aiden said, but Rusev isn't having any of it and gets them to get ready. So after all the backstage segments, we get our second match, Nakamura vs Rusev for the US title. Rusev looked very good in the match, dominating Nakamura for most of it, but Aiden couldn't help but get involved in the match by chanting Rusev Day down the mic, and when Rusev looked like the title was in reach, he was interrupted again by his tag partner taking a page out of Lana's book to tell him to crush. Rusev gets distracted, and Nakamura rolls up the Bulgarian Brute and gets the free count. So after all these months of speculation over what is going to happen with Rusev Day, is Rusev going to turn on Aiden? The things we didn't want to see happen, well, it finally did. But it wasn't Rusev. It wasn't Rusev doing the beating, it was Aiden. Aiden had enough and beat up Rusev, in which his final words to his former friend were, "Happy Rusev Day." Well, after all that excitement, you would think we would have a little break. But nope, we went straight into the Styles vs Almas match, and Almas got the quick upper hand on Styles as he wasn't able to finish getting into the ring. So after a few minutes, Styles was ready to start the match. After another cracking match that these two had with some great moves and spots between them both, Styles took all the punishment that Almas was able to throw at him, and Styles got the win in this incredible match. Move of the night goes to Styles when he reversed the Hammerlock DDT into a jackknife cover, in which he reversed that into a Styles Clash. Yes, very something and special indeed. And as expected, Joe turned up to put the beating on Styles, in which they both had a little scrap before Joe made a run for it through the WWE Universe, and the two were finally separated. For our main event match, which by now we would all expect something amazing to follow suit after the Styles and Almas match, well, sorry, we don't get that, I'm afraid, but we get a women's match with the Iconics Billie Kay taking on Asuka. 50-50 booking at its best. But Asuka did get the win, and probably next week it will be Naomi taking on Peyton Royce before they all clash in Super Showdown. Well, hey, we are nearly there, folks. Just this last segment to go, but it was a special day for me and for many people who watched Hell in a Cell. Becky Lynch is our new SmackDown Live champion as she beat Charlotte. Paige introduces us to the new champion and the celebration begins. Alright, not overly keen on these celebration packages the WWE have put together. We get they won the title, but they don't need to be handed it again. But enough of my opinion. Charlotte did come out after Becky poked at her through the opening of the segment. The two exchanged some words, and eventually Becky poked at her too much, calling the former champ a bitch, and then the two collided. After the disarmer and Beck Exploder, Becky walked away from this as Charlotte lay flat on her back. I cannot wait to see how far they take this. Well, thank you for listening for my recap of SmackDown Live. Now it's back to Brother Ben and Broken Zach.